Buenas tardes a todo el mundo. Honorable rectors, members of the boards of trustees, president of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics, faculty, graduates, and their families, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the AXA Auditory. It is a great pleasure for you to host your graduation in this beautiful building was avant-garde design has turned the Leia complex into an emblematic reference of Barcelona. This is your home. I would also like to thank the Barcelona GSE for giving me the opportunity to address you today and reiterate how AXA Spain and AXA Reserve Fund are committed with this institution and your education. Today is a celebration and culmination of your hard work and merits achieved you through the year. It is a first step, one of the most important without any doubt that will mark you the beginning of a long and productivity way. You are young, highly qualified, and with a healthy ambition. Your contribution certainly will be very important for the society of today and tomorrow. You have a great responsibility and journey for your challenge. I am convinced that you will now hold it with it. Thank you, congratulations, and good luck.
Thank you. Thanks, Antoni Jimenez. From AXA is the host, and we want to thank them first. Today is an important day for all of you. It's the 9th cohort of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. Next year, we're going to be celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. And in just less than 10 years, we have alumni all over the world. We have a very international faculty. It has been a very intense year, I know, in terms for what you have learned in all the dimensions, professionally, in economics, in finance, but also about people and friends. All over all the masters, we have 263 of you from 56 countries. So I wanted to congratulate you for being here, for having passed this challenging year. And I also want to thank your parents. Some of them are here, and if not, they will know about it, because many cases, they also help in the investment. You had done the investment yourself with the time, but that's an investment that it really pays. Pays professionally. Of the last year cohort, within 6 months, 92% they have been placed, 72% of them in professional, others in academic. So, and this corresponds to what people wanted to do. But that's one aspect which is crucial, the professional and the knowledge aspect. But there is also this aspect of being in a very international, diverse group. From now on, you're going to have friends from many different countries. And in our society, these two things, if something economics we agree, are crucial. One is education, as high as possible. And two, to understand that we live in a very interdependent world. Unfortunately, this year we had several events of situations where people don't fully understand how important this interdependence is, how important it is to be used to have friends and people of different cultures. And that's something that in just 1 year you also, I'm sure you have appreciated. Possibly many of you already were coming from a similar environment, so very international, but for sure all of you are now there. So I wanted to congratulate you, and I don't want to spend more time because what we want to do today is to go and have the full graduation. But before that, we are very pleased to have Antoni Llarden, which is the chairman of Enagas, that will address all of you. All of you, this year is also, we have done it in 2 sessions because there were too many. We cannot have them, all of you, but some of you. Gracias.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like, let me to organize the desk, please. Okay, I am an engineer then. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Barcelona Graduate School of Economics, and especially its director, Teresa García Milá, for inviting me to participate in this graduation ceremony today, and of course, thank you very much to the chairman, Ramon Marimón, of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. Well, this is a great honor for me to share its important milestone with all of you. I would like, first of all, to congratulate you. You have to be very proud and happy with your achievement. Also, you have to face this new period of your life with enthusiasm and to start new projects and succeed. I would like to also congratulate your families. It's very important to recognize the support they have given you. Probably, in most cases, they have made it possible for you to be here today. Well, I am an engineer, well, surrounded by many economists, then it's an important day for me also, but as an engineer, but at the same time, chairman of a listed company, I work very closely with financial people, financial professionals like yourselves, analysts, investors, bankers, consultants. Well, as a chairman of Enagas, let me to introduce my company in 5 minutes. Enagas is an energy company listed in the IBEX 35. We have almost 50 years of experience. In the industry of oil and gas, we are describing the midstream, the upstream, and the downstream. Our company, my company, is in the midstream. We are a transporting company with facilities like regasification facilities, underground storages, high-pressure pipelines. Right now, 95% of our shares are free float, and among them, the 80% are from overseas investors. Then in the IBEX 35 in Spain, we are one of the companies with more international shareholders. We started 5 years ago our policy to begin to be outside Spain. Right now, we are present in 8 countries. But the most important for me at this moment are 2 things. 2 things that make me especially proud. The first is, despite the hard economic crisis suffered in Spain and across the world over the last few years, I can say that Enagas, since the beginning of 2007, has increased its workforce by more than 30%. And secondly, the company has practically doubled our asset base from around 4 billion euros to 8 billion euros. Well, stop to make publicity about the company and to felicitate you. And perhaps, well, the organizers talked to me, what kind of speech do you want? And he said to me, well, talk about, well, the future career of the young people here from the point of view of a chairman of a listed company. Then some ideas, very simple, but, well, I hope it could be interesting for you. First idea, it is very important to mention that the professional environment in which you are going to enter right now is very complex. Certainly, every generation has to face up to different difficulties. It's not the first time. But really, we are living in a globalized world that has big and important advantages, but at the same time also has complex challenges that we don't know yet how to solve. In my opinion, summarizing, there are three kinds of challenges: economical, social, and politics. Globalization has clear economic consequences. It might improve the situation for an important part of the population, especially in the poorest countries, but at the same time, we are finding new phenomena. First, for example, middle class in the development countries lives relatively worse than before, or at least it thinks it is the situation. And secondly, inequality has increased. Globalization also has important social consequences. Perhaps the most important, the big phenomenon of big migrations as a consequence of political and military conflicts, poverty, difference in the life, and especially a new factor, the immediacy of the mass media and the social media. Things that probably right now, at the moment we are here, in the middle of the, for example, the poorest country in Africa, there is a young people or a young girl living in the middle of the poverty, but at the same time, with the capacity through internet, through the screen on TV, to see the way of life of Europe or United States or Australia, and deciding to leave his country and to go to the north in order to find a job, to find a better life. It's very, very difficult, thinking about it, to stop this movement of the desperate people, of the smart people, of the more learned people to fight for a better life. Then it's a new phenomenon than the developed countries. We are not I don't know the word dominating right now. It is one of the problems we have. And lastly, political problems. I am summarizing, evidently. There are political consequences of the globalization. For example, we are renewing a discussion that perhaps the people of my age thinks that was an old thing. In all the countries, we are discussing the leaders of the countries, the opinion makers, another time between openness, liberalization, free trade, or on the contrary, economic and political self-protectionism. It seems that we are 100 years ago, and we are another time discussing this. And especially the second problem, in my opinion, more important, the eruption of populism. For me, populism is a too simple answer to such complex problems. Well, this is the globalization era, and from this point of view, in this context, what do we require of the professionals who work in our teams, in our companies? Well, it's not important, my opinion, but I think, essentially, that probably my opinions are more or less the average of the chief executive officers or chairman you can find in your professional career in the future. Well, we want our people have attitudes and aptitudes and values. Well, attitudes. Well, in a globalized world, I especially value attributes like initiative, evidently, open-mindedness, perseverance, and especially positive attitude. Those who detect the problem are useful, but only if they provide also solutions. Do not forget, in the companies, perhaps in a very theoretical work, it's very important to analyze a problem and to detect a problem. But in the real economic world, your bosses, your future bosses, want that you can detect the problem and at the same time provide one, or if it is possible, two solutions for the problem. Then do not forget. Well, on the other hand, probably we require aptitudes from the people we like or we want to have in our companies. First of all, teamwork. I know all the time are you listening about teamwork, then this is more or less a cliché, but essentially it's very important. I think in the real economic world, in the business world, in the business, financial business, industrial business, it's very important the ability to work in a team. I know, as in your academic life, probably you are very learned to work in teams of people. Perhaps my personal experience is in the business, in the companies, not always the people is able to work very well in teams. Then it's very important. Also, evidently, there are other things, negotiation skills. For example, another idea, I think, public speaking. It seems that in a world that with the IT tools we have, it's not important to have an audience to talk about it, about something, because you have the capacity to produce memos, reports, to give messages to receive. But at the end of your work in a project, for example, in a real company, at the end of this way, you must also always find a certain audience. It could be the Investors Commission, the Executive Commission, the Board of Directors, some investors, some analysts from big investment funds, and they want to know in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 5 minutes, what's your opinion about the project, what objectives do you want to reach, how much cost, how much money they put in the project. Then the capacity of public speaking, convince other people about our ideas, well, do not forget. And finally, evidently, at a certain moment, perhaps right now or in the next future, you will be the leader of a team, the boss of a division, or the boss of a company. Very important, 3 ideas: motivate your teams, identify the talent, and especially promote it. In my personal career, I was very, very thankful to the majority of my bosses. I used to have very big, rigorous bosses that learned me a lot, and I try 40 years later to learn something from them. No? And perhaps my most important experience is a good boss. What level of boss is not important? A good boss is always the boss who is able to detect talent and to promote the talent. And finally, well, don't be afraid of making decisions, because real life, especially real business, means at the end to take a decision, or yes or not, this or that. And not always very intelligent people is able to make decisions at the right moment. Do not forget. And also, it's not contradictory, well, do not be afraid of saying no whenever necessary, especially if you are a leader of a team, a boss, you will have certain responsibilities. Say no, perhaps, is more difficult than it seems. No? Well, from the point of view of values, well, I think we can summarizing in one word. I think one main value is honesty. If you are asked to do something which is not possible to explain very clear to the rest of the people, well, don't do it, because probably it's not a good thing. Remember this when at the middle of a work in a company, in activity, somebody said to you, we are to produce this or to set this, but don't explain to nothing. I am not talking about confidentiality, evidently. If one thing is difficult to explain to other people, then probably, I insist, don't do it. Well, other kind of values, evidently we appreciated in the companies. Well, or perhaps more exactly, it is my advice for young people, well, do not be blinded at the beginning by the rapid success or the short-term money. It's not important. If it is possible, evidently choose your jobs, but especially choose your bosses. I know it's very difficult to find a job and more difficult to choose the boss. But when you will have some experience of the business world, you can detect very easy good bosses and bad bosses. Good bosses are the bosses who are normally very rigorous, very harsh, but they detect the talent, they promote it, they learn the people. And other kind of bosses, perhaps they achieve at a short time the objectives they have, but not exactly are the same people from the point of view of the young people. Then, if it is possible for you, when you are in a company or you are two different possibilities of job, try to choose your job, no? And finally, well, enjoy your work. It's very difficult to be very productive in a company if you do not enjoy the work. I know very well, I have my personal experience. Sometimes in some companies I enjoy my work, in others perhaps not a lot, but it's very important to enjoy the work. And finally, perhaps it could be an old concept, but I think it's interesting, or at least for me, in front of this audience, to talk about the brotherhood in the professional environment. We can't achieve big goals without a sense of teamwork, of belonging, of collective pride, to be proud of being member of a company, little company, big company, of your academic life, for example, to be member of the school of Barcelona. I think this idea of brotherhood, of to be proud of being member of a wider group of people, I think is very important in order to achieve goals in a company. I know very well that right now the people is not working for one company for all the life, evidently. But myself, I think probably I had in my life 7 or 8 different companies, and in each company I had some experiences, good and bad. But I think every time is important, if it is possible, to have this sense of pride, this sense of to be in contact with other people. Well, I would like to finish as I started by thanking the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics for having invited me to share with you all this moment, and by once again congratulating you and your families. You are a well-prepared generation. Here today, the organizer said to me, there are people from 56 countries. Well, it's dramatic. Some of you will work in Spain, the majority will work overseas, but think that the training and the adaptation ability that the Graduate School of Economics has given you has prepared you for wherever you go. Remember, the most important thing is to live your lives with integrity. Don't give in to the pressure from other people. Don't try to be something that you aren't. Listen to your curiosity, be ambitious, follow your dreams, and, well, for finalizing, the world is relying on people like you. Congratulations and good luck in your future. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you, Anthony. You referred to the values in the more professional world are the same in academics. So people have to be positive. We find solutions. Sometimes we don't have the same time pressure, but it's the same. And to work in teams and to be enthusiastic and enjoy it. We also the same, not only because at the end, people are also scholars. So people help to develop institutions too, as we happen here. You mentioned Teresa, of course, the director played a big role, but it's the whole team of the Barcelona GSE. And as I said, this is fairly young institution, and it's already having an impact. On that, we are not that different. So thanks. I want to pass the word to José García Montalvo, the director of the Department of Economics and Business of the Universidad Pompeu Fabra.
Thank you, Ramon. Well, today I'm here as a representative of the rector of the university and a member of the board of directors. He cannot be with us today, but also as director of the Economics and Business Department, which is the basic, the source of most of the academics of these two masters, the master in economics and the master in finance. I think that I agree with Ramon, and I think we all agree that in economics we don't agree in many things, but we agree that education is fundamental for growth and for productivity and for professional careers. And I think we also agree with Antonio Jardem when he talked about the challenges of the future, and also that the basic things that we're going to be doing and you are going to be doing in the future is detect problems and find solutions. Question is, or the problem is that it seems like the war is becoming more and more uncertain and more risky. And precisely one of the good things about education and the education that I think we have tried to provide you here in the Master of Economics, in the Master of Finance, is to be able to measure risk in different ways and also be aware of uncertainty. So situations in which you cannot assign risk very precisely and therefore react to these two situations in different ways. I'm going to be very brief. I want to thank the partners that provide financial aid for our academic programs. We have two of them here, Enagas and AXA, but I want to thank all of them. And I want to congratulate you, and I hope the best for your professional career.
I want to give the word to Xavier Martínez-Giral, which is director of the Unit of Economic Analysis of the Universitat Autònoma. Those are the two academic units, universities, which are our feet.
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon, authorities, colleagues, students, relatives, and friends. I am honored to be here as representative of the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona. In any endeavor, there are two crucial dates, right? The starting date and the finishing date, the ending date. While in the welcome session you were encouraged to work hard, now we have a real celebration. You have achieved your goal. You have completed your master's degree, so congratulations and best wishes for your future. Now you will have the opportunity to put to practice the knowledge that you have acquired and the ability to analyze real-world situations in your professional performance. You will move from, gee, so much theory. What is the usefulness of the theory? We want practice, right? Now it's the moment to appreciate the value of theory, right? But besides the, the academic dimension, there is also a personal one. Along these months, you have become friends. Your different backgrounds have allowed exchanging experiences that enrich your personalities, otherwise it would have been impossible. Now you will spread back all over the world. So I encourage you to maintain the contacts, the friendships that you have developed here, and the social networks are an excellent tool for that. So get in touch. Do, say, groups in WhatsApp and things like this, right? That is, say, that's nice. Say in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, you will meet some of you somewhere in the world, and then you will remember this period, right? So let me conclude congratulating all of you again, your relatives and friends. The world is open to you. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, help me congratulating the students from the program in economics. Alaitza Yarza, Andrea Baccellieri, Marija Van, Filip Bartesca, Ankit Bartilla. Héctor Blanco, Martin Bramel, Felipe Cañavate, Hussein Kavlak, Vinit Chintala. Elena Costarelli, Rosa Maria Dasso, Suleiman Davut, Antonio De Martino, Sonia Dolkovitz. Bjarni Einarsson, Andrea Fabiani, Marco Felici, Oliver Feltham, Sebastian Fesser. Giuliana Freschi, Enrico Frezzini, Laura Gatz, Alexandros Georgopoulos, Samprit Goraya. Rui Guan, William Haynes, Janko Heineken, Kelsey Henry, James Hill. Lukas Hoesch, Arman Jacobson, Katarina Janesic, Viraj Jorapur, Nicolas Kreidmeier. Adam Lee, Nils Lea, Lucas Leucht, Leonardo Lima, Duccio Lopresto. Zoel Martín, Isabel Mico, Virginia Mini, Simon Mosler, Marit Olkola. Barrett Owen, Oslem Ozaltin, Federico Pelayo, Álvaro Pereira, Jessica Poduseri. Italo Ragno, Andreu Reixac, Michael Riza, Joachim Ruprecht, Aina Sant Pol. Skid Singleton, Evangelia Spantidaki, Jonathan Stern, Christopher Thomas, Sneha Tube. Philip Tiozzo, Juan Torrecillas, Ciro Ugarte, Ryan Valenca, Joaquín Vidiella. And finally, Robertson Wang, Christopher Williams, Ugur Yesil Bayraktar, Jurica Zerns. So, thank you very much for the program in economics. This is all. Congratulations again from the staff. So this was it that year, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulating the students from the program in finance. Javier Albert, Angela Beramay, Silvina Castelao, Nicolò Cerioli, Magdalena Danahil. David Gillen, Biliana Zilewska, Laura Gris, Loye Kozole, Jaime Mayure. Fernando Melgarejo, Emil Naude, Melanie Pintado, Guillermo Ramírez, Aparna Sharma. And finally, for finance, André Souza, Nicole van Valsum, Marnix Wezenbeck. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much.
Well, now you are graduated. Congratulations. And now I want to welcome you, because now you are members of the Alumni Association of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. There are 1,510 people around, plus the ones of this year. So that's a great group, and as it was said before, be proud of it. Now we have some alumni representatives that are going to speak a few things. Miquel Mas-Oliver.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank the GSE staff for inviting me. Thank you, faculty members, graduates, and relatives. My sincere congratulations to all of you graduating today. I guess that it has been a tough year as it was to me. Well, today I would like to talk about changing scenarios. I guess that if this speech had a title, it would be something like A Tale of Two Worlds. Back in 2012, I was living in Germany, and for a whole year, I spent 10 hours per day analyzing on a microscope how bacteria moved. This was my master thesis in physics. I was deleting some genes in these bacteria to infer if they were important for their motility. However, 1 year later, I shifted to finance. So, why did I make such a leap? Well, a master's in physics provides anybody with two things: an acceptable quantitative toolbox and a complete confusion on what to do next. So I decided so my little quantitative toolbox was built to deal with random processes. Randomness is nothing else than lack of knowledge. And there's lack of knowledge in the mechanisms that drive both the stock market fluctuations and the bacterial motility. So I decided to overcome the confusion around me by submitting an application to be GSE. But let me emphasize something. By the time of writing my application, I barely had any idea about finance. To me, S&P 500 sounded more like the new NASA spaceship than a stock market index. Not to mention words such as assets, tail risk, beta, factors, and so on. By that time, all of those words were completely non-existent in my world of deformed bacteria. However, after 1 year, a connection was established between these two worlds. Not only concepts from physics were used to dig deeper into finance, but also techniques from finance helped me to tie up some loose ends of my knowledge of physics. It's difficult to quantify to what extent BGSE played a role beyond the Darwinian pass or perish process that every student is subject to. But in some way, it played a role. It seems, at least to me, that the quest for growth is our zeitgeist. It implies a steadily changing environments, and it requires flexibility and adaptability. BGSE contributed in developing the necessary flexibility and adaptability to change from one field of knowledge to another. But by the time of finishing my master in finance, I was unaware of this. It was when I was hired as a quantitative analyst by an asset manager when I realized that if shifting from physics to finance was a big leap, shifting from academic finance to industry finance was a huge leap. Again, I moved from one world to another. As a quantitative analyst, I participate in the stimulating process of developing quantitative investment strategies. The efficient market hypothesis states that asset prices reflect all available information because financial market participants are rational. Well, we look for the opposite. We try to find recurrent pricing anomalies that arise from behavioral biases. Investors are far from being rational. They are subject to cognitive biases that prevent them, in a recurrent way, from taking optimal decisions. And this leads to pricing anomalies. We refer to these pricing anomalies as market inefficiencies. And they lay at the core of my job. We look for them, we use analytics to validate their existence, we model them, and finally, we build an algorithm that generates buy and sell signals. Some of these inefficiencies are studied in the academia, but they are the tip of the iceberg. The investment industry is full of clever people looking for inefficiencies, but they are not public in any academic journal. With the benefit of the hindsight, I can say that while studying at BGSE, things were easier. I just needed to learn the concepts taught during the lectures. In the industry, I get bombarded every day with lots of new ideas. Few of them are robust. Some of them aren't useful at all. So I need to learn how to distinguish signal from noise. And this is a tough process. I think that it would be extremely difficult to follow this learning process without the concepts that I learned at BGSE. One way to deal with this distinction is by considering only these new ideas that are logical extensions of the concepts that BGSE provided me with. In consequence, these concepts act as a frame from where I can start expanding the boundaries of knowledge. They represent a solid building block of my education. And although concepts are important, experience plays a crucial role. Once, I took a subject called Advanced Statistical Mechanics. It is probably the toughest subject I've ever taken. The subject develops the machinery to model phase transitions, how solid becomes liquid and liquid becomes gas, for example. And despite its overwhelming mathematical apparatus, it's beautiful. The professor taught this subject using a different approach. Instead of working out mathematical expressions to obtain the final results, he conceptually jumped from one mathematical expression to another, by making some considerations based on the laws of physics. Once it was written on the blackboard, it seemed very simple. But to achieve such a degree of simplicity, it's extremely difficult. It would have been much easier to start playing around with mathematics, because mathematics has its own boundaries. Since then, whenever I work on a model, I try looking for simplicity, because simple is beautiful. However, I'm still struggling, and I will probably struggle for a long time. Maybe if financial engineers working at Wall Street had taken advanced statistical mechanics with this professor, things would have been different, because in my opinion, the financial industry urgently needs simplicity. But it is extremely difficult to achieve simplicity. It requires a deep understanding of the concept that you are working with, and it might lead you to thousands and thousands of mistakes. It mainly requires experience, but experience requires time. And it's difficult to achieve simplicity with a short-term view, because expanding your experience is a long-term journey. And now, it's time for your journey to begin. It's your call, and it's up to you on how you want to make it. But in any case, I'm quite sure that you will enjoy the ride. Thank you, and good luck.
Thanks, Miquel. And now from one of you, Álvaro Pereira from the Program of Economics.
Hello, good afternoon. It's an honor to be speaking in front of you. First of all, congratulations. We're masters. Congratulations to you all. That is one thing that you can't delete from your bucket list. Now you only need to plant a tree, write a book, and understand Mascolel. I would like to start with some acknowledgements. First of all, in the name of all students, I would like to thank the administration of GSE. Coordinating more than 200 students must be a very difficult task, and everything flowed perfectly, so thank you for that. Additionally, I will also like to thank the professors. They are excellent at what they do. And I would like to emphasize particularly those moments when they walked the extra mile. They had extended office hours, they replied on weekends or close to deadlines, and particularly when they gave feedback that was in fact longer than the effective piece of work. So thank you also for that. We were very lucky to have the professors and the administration we had. Also, I would like to thank the families, our families and friends. I would like to thank the family members that are here. I would also like to thank those family members that are not here, to that particular grandpa that spent some time trying to know how to send an email or do WhatsApp, to that aunt that sent us 20 pictures every time the family met, and to that uncle that spent a massive amount of time writing reports of every football game our team lost. And finally, I would like to thank our parents that spent a massive amount of time in front of the computer, Skyping with us, to getting all the details of Uruguay and our families, just to make us feel close to home. That it was very needed and not very much appreciated, so we would like to appreciate that now. So thank you very much for doing that. So, some weeks ago, I was quite clueless about how to tackle this speech. Fortunately, I got some very nice pieces of advice. I was suggested that it could be a good idea to describe how our lifestyle was, how our life was here, maybe tell some anecdotes. That is very easy to do. We spent 10 months in a cafeteria and a library. Most of our interaction with the local culture happened there. After a year in Barcelona, now your son is able to say, "A café con leche para llevar, por favor." And the more depressing, "Els informem que el dipòsit de les aigües tancarà en 15 minuts." What might look as a very miserable lifestyle was effectively a miserable lifetime sometimes, but most of the time it wasn't. There is one clear reason for that: our fellow classmates. It was a group full of energy, incredible sense of humor, and filled with brilliant minds, sometimes intimidating minds. It has been a great pleasure to share these months with you. The friendships we made allowed us to be exposed to new music, new food, and most importantly, new ways of thinking and looking at issues. As a bonus track, we also learned how to curse in 7 different languages. Personally, there is one particular characteristic that I value the most. I believe that the most remarkable feature of our generation was collaboration. I don't know if this happens in all universities or in all cohorts, but I think what we got here was very nice, was extraordinary. The general attitude was always to help, always to share knowledge, and always be open to engage in learning together. This happened even though it was quite evident that we all were applying for the same job opportunities, so that's even more remarkable. Personally, I believe that this process of collaboration was one of the best things we have. It's one great gift we all got this year. So thank you all for that. I'm quite sure that we will always remember the library, but I'm confident that as years go by, we'll manage to remain some other things. I imagine that 20 or 30 years from now, a fatter version of us will walk through the streets of Barcelona and will smile remembering the places we visit and who we visited with. Relaxing in the Ciudadela Park, walking in Tibidabo or Carmel, watching a game in Camp Nou, or having a night out in Raval or Born. Now, 10 months have gone by. It's time to look back and draw some conclusions. What are the main takeaways of these masters? It might be too soon to recognize them, but I have to because I still have 5 minutes to go. First takeaway, knowledge. I believe that the main concepts we learned are very easy to summarize. 1, if you're planning to do something, please be extremely careful. Everything you do can go wrong. The second is, if you're planning to evaluate something, please be extremely careful. You can measure everything wrong. As we can see, this master was very far away from allowing us to ride a white unicorn into a rainbow of happiness and world peace, but it was very realistic about the titanic task of conducting proper economic analysis and the even more titanic task of shaping the world in a way that we like. Personally, I think we should be extremely grateful for this. From now on, I believe that most of us will pay lots of attention to details and will be extremely cautious and careful while working. Additionally, I also believe that we will be very hard to trick with promises and magic solutions. So, the second takeaway of the masters, the social takeaway. Maybe it's more than 100 lifelong friends, or maybe it isn't. To be honest, I believe that in the next year I will interact with maybe 6 or 7 of my classmates, and that will only be the case when I plan to make fun of them when the national team is losing. So, in social terms, what is there for us? I think we should be grateful that we all had a very positive experience while interacting with different people from around the planet. We all have good feelings about engaging with diverse people. And not diversity in the way that media usually covers it, like religion, political affiliation, ethnicity, sexual orientation. I mean hardcore diversity, right? Vegetarians, cricket fans, fans of electronic music, and even Argentinians. People that is very, very, very different from us. That was an easy joke, sorry. I believe that what happened in these masters leave room for optimism in the bigger picture. Students from all around the planet were able to respect each other, collaborate together, create together. While we see dramatic manifestations of hate and intolerance all around the world, what we did in the cafeteria indicates the exact same opposite is possible. There is room to collaborate without trying to change each other. Positive links with different people can be made, and we all benefit from this situation. It looks like the world could benefit from a generation of young leaders with this in mind. In order to avoid committing plagiarism in my last minutes in this university, I must recognize that I'm not the author of this line of thought. I think we should give a round of applause for Pascal Naim-Schmidt for saying this in his birthday. So, after this ceremony, this group breaks apart. The paths we will take look very different, but we have one thing in common. We all have critical knowledge, and we have some tools to tackle very dreadful questions. Questions that is very comfortable to ignore. For all of us to decide to work in the private sector, it is important that we think, who is harmed by my actions or the actions of my company? How am I affecting those in the most disadvantaged position? Do I cause or benefit from financial turmoil? Do I exploit the unawareness of my customers? Are the goals of my company aligned with social well-being? On the other hand, for those of us who choose to work for the government or NGOs, another set of equally challenging questions arise. Am I effectively targeting those in need? Those my actions respond to any notion of justice? Or am I just pleasing my bosses, the politicians, or just donors? Is this the best way to use public money or donations? Our actions are helping communities to develop the future they want, or just providing assistance to keep the status quo? I don't know is not a valid answer. Ignorance is not a hiding place. Play dumb should also be out of the table. I hope that we are all brave enough to ask this type of questions. And I hope that we are even more brave enough to act in consequence, even if it involves losing some comfort, even if it involves leaving the easy path and taking the long path. Please, take the long path. Thank you.
So here we go. Adnan Arif, Kenza Benis, Bendegus Vixi, Vivian Sonka, Sara Del Vecchio. Sihan Dogan, Mauricio Escalera, Melissa Farara, Lionel Gendebien, Ebru Ince. Shia Mengzen, Luis Penas, Cristina Plata, Benjamin Prader, Chiara Riviera. And finally, Mania Sukovic, Cesar Ulate, Ceren Ustunel, Ulrich Bohak. Congratulations, competition. It's been a tough year, but it's done, huh? Yeah. So, I see a lot of study here. We start. Miguel Abad, Daniela Limonti, Ulusola Arawoshola, Chiara Borra, Marina Bosque. Eva Flores, Ashley Fry, Mónica Gambarín, Diego Gentile, Thomas Hegarty. Cecilia Carmel, Colm Kennedy, Daniela Perea, Dirk Poker, Emre Sakizli. And finally, Evan Seyfried, Dario Sarabia, Alejandro Balbuena, Hilaria Vigo, Ana María Zambrano. Congratulations, EPP. Well done this year. So here we go, ITFD. Facundo Abraham, Chiyun An, Esin Aydemir, Pietro Bafico, John Barry. Chiara Benedetti, Ben Boyschel, Tituan Blaise, Ming Xiang, Alberto Ciccone. Ali Khan Damji, Giorgio Del Grosso, Thomas Dutra, Manuel Erzua, Patricia Garcia. Andrés García, Megan Garner, Alberto González, Zhen Yangwo, Chan Gurlek. Frederick Jensen, Dea Jessica, Thomas Kari, Gretchen Kohl, Victoria Kozielec. Gonzalo López, Roberto Maeso, Hakimuddin Mani, Francisca Maslega, Tara Marva. Alessio Micozzi, Takashi Miyahara, Saskia Mosle, Nicholas Müller, James Murray. Kenneth Mwandingi, Ali Nilo Forzadeh, Yuna O, Mateu Batauga Parellada, Gabriela Perea. Maria Ptashkina, Anna Ritz, Timo Rost, Daniel Sexton, Silas Tauschholm. And finally, for ITFD, Kansu Sugun, Barnabas Zekeli, Miguel Vallès. Well done, ITFD. So for macro, we start. Nagam Abdel, Ipek, Axayos, Clara Atienza, Gleb Bijov, Victor Carrasco. Ariadne Checo, Carola Ebert, George Evauche, Lorenzo Ferrante, Mateus Gerotto. Georgia Glorioso, Katiani Gupta, Ryan Jacildo, Naman Jain, Thomas Leach. Andras Lengiel, Gabor Malatinsky, Nestor Molina, Zine Nokolaisen, Sigurdur Olafsson. Carlos Peláez, Jaime Pérez, Hanna Pfar, Óscar Polanco e Caterina Rezepina. Finally, Gil Roder, Eduardo Saviñón, Ferran Soler, Giovanni Trevi, Sofia Velasco, Nicolaus Venturis. So, Macro, thank you for your year here. Congratulations. Xenia Bout, Leonardo Bion, Anna Corretger, Roger Cuscó, Domagoj Fizulich. Felix Gutmann, Nicholas Halliwell, Uwe Herbert Hönig, Sarah Inman, Andreas Lloyd. Aina Lopez, Yaroslav Marchuk, Niti Mishra, Santosh Narayanan, Nikitas. Anneke Spijers, Harihara Srinivasan, Miquel Torrents, Balint Van, Max van Esso. And finally, Thomas Vicente Feiza Yilmaz. So congratulations to all of you. From the staff, we're very proud. I'll see you on the beach tonight.
Thanks, Joan. That was great. So congratulations. Now you got your master. This means that now you're an alumni of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. Welcome. So it's a pleasure to have an alumni from the youngest program of all, which is data science. That was the first year. Silvia Ariza.
Esteemed teachers, dear parents, beloved friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege for me to be standing here in front of you, that you share with me the happiness you must be feeling right now. It's not been a long time that I was sitting there where you are right now. My name's Silvia, and I'm from Lleida, the best city in Spain, varying from 40 degrees in summer to -5 degrees in winter. Yes, a very cozy place to live. I was just explaining that so as to apologize for my English. I graduated last year in data science, so I was from the very first promotion. Truth be told, I wasn't the best student last year, but I really learned from the best ones. It was an amazing experience to meet people from all over, living with them, traveling with them, and sharing. The magic point was the complete diversity of ages, nationalities, and backgrounds that we had. Despite of all that, for the one time, we could be in touch with people who really had similar interests. To understand a bit more the path I did, last year I was already a veteran at UPF, as I had done my degree in International Business Economics there. During these 4 years, I had also lived in China, and I finished my studies in Brazil, thanks to an international agreement with UPF. I went there the year that the World Cup took place. I could enjoy the carnival in Rio de Janeiro, the deep Amazonia for a whole month. And after thinking that life was wonderful and I had great marks, I was back to Barcelona and started my degree at GSE. It was difficult for me to get used to the sudden external and internal exigency. And I guess I never overcame this feeling. I could only incorporate it in my daily routine. It was a hard but an amazing year. I had the best rooftop parties, excursions, and friends. I realized how many hours had the day when I was at the library, when we even called Telepizza to reach us pizzas there. I realized it might be the only university where beer is cheaper than water, where professors even offer to solve questions by phone or on the weekends, and where it's possible to have a fideuà all together. I believe it's been a great choice, and so I have checked now once after finishing. Just after the master, we could all follow our idea. We all managed to find good jobs, or starting our way as PhD students and researchers. As a big fan of Beatles who I am, I will take the words of John Lennon, who remarked that life is what happens to you while you are busy making other plans. By that, I want to point out of the importance of living the action of your life, the present. Your dream can always wait to come true. Give each experience all your attention. Some of you know the next path to take, whether the step is a full-time job, a backpacking trip, to start your own company, or even to keep on the academic path. Others might still have no idea. I tried to do everything when I finished. I traveled for 2 months. In September, I started to work as a data scientist in Vueling. I went back to piano, and I adopted a cat. After half a year, I did again the same. I was very happy with my position, but I was offered the chance to be a product manager in the big data department of CaixaBank. So I accepted, I quitted Vueling, and I went to Mexico for a month before I started in the new company. I think dreams are dynamic, and you have to let things flow. You have many feelings together, a big happiness for having fulfilled your goal, but also big expectations on what is going to happen for you from now on. You leave behind many remembers that are going to be with you for the rest of your lives. Some of you have found your love in the corridors, others wonderful friendships, but you all have left a mark within the university and among others. It's a time to thank everyone who touched our lives, to parents who stood by us no matter what, to teachers who tried to instill in us passion for learning, to administrators who wanted to make our university experience as amazing as possible, to advisors who helped us decide what path to take, to friends who were there for pizza parties, study sessions, and everything in between, and to all those others who we depend on. Without you, there would be no purpose to being here, no way to advance. Life, like society, is exactly what we make of it. Thank you all for your attention. It's been a great pleasure to be here with you this afternoon, and congratulations, good luck.
Thanks, Silvia. This is meaningful for you, but it's also meaningful for us to see where all our alumni are engaged jobs in the world. Of the last year, within 6 months, 92% of them, of you, some, had a place either in the professional, in academia, on the kind of things you wanted. So that's what it makes that sense, that you see that investment made, the time spent, and also for the families, it pays. So as I said, now you are alumni and be proud of it. I just want to now give the last one of you, Mateu Guatuga Parellada, which is from ITFD program of this year.
Good evening. Good evening. Dear faculty members and staff, dear families and friends, and dear graduating students, I'm honored to be the speaker, the last speaker you're going to be having this evening. After such geniuses, after 1 year of lecturers, now you have me. It's wonderful, isn't it? We're a few masters here, so I'm going to be a bit personal, but I'm sure you all can relate to what I'm going to say. All of this started in a warm, sunny September 7th, more or less as the same heat as today, in Building 24 of the CITAD UPF campus. Some were in the Universidad Autónoma of Barcelona, a bit further away. I was late, what eventually would become a bad habit, as some of you know. But I finally reached class, and this class hadn't started yet. There was a lot of ruckus coming from inside. So I went inside without making much noise. I crept to the back, and I started observing what would be my fellow classmates for this year. Quickly, I was able to spot the Italians because they were loud and talking about their mothers. The Germans were obviously complaining that we were losing 15 minutes of our precious time, except one of them that's a bit of a renegade. Then there were the Spanish folk, obviously, that they were talking about Spain and convincing the rest of the class that this is Spain, this thing of Catalonia does not exist. It's only a fantasy. While the Catalans would look up in the sky and say, okay, okay. And then you could spot the Americans by their complaints about not being able to find any good, reliable food around here. Where are all the fat food joints? Where are they? Yeah. The Russians, not really interacting with people because, of course, they thought that everybody is against them, but no, we love you too. And then you could always find a Middle Eastern guy with his phone. Nobody knows what he was speaking about, but we're still very intrigued. Yeah, so then the first class started, and yes, all of these stereotypes and many more were present there. We finished our first class, and then our director had to come in to say his first words, his welcoming. So there we were waiting for him to come, very chill and stuff, and suddenly, boom, boom, there was a wildering beast upon us. Suddenly, our program director comes in. We were very afraid, of course, because our program director, many of you don't know, but he's kind of a grizzly bear. He's very intimidating. So then he said the first words that nobody wanted to believe until the first week started, of course. Very good. Very good. You will have to study a minimum of 60 hours per week to do decently. Oh, almost all, well, not almost all, but a few of us, not me, of course, wanted to pack their bags and run away. But we stood still, we remained steady, and the first term started. And so we battled through the first term, facing very challenging examination periods of maybe 5 exams subsequently. Some had less, but we all faced more or less the same. And the first term finally ended with a few more white hairs, a few more pounds to the waist, a few more wrinkles. Some of the families here probably don't even recognize us now after 1 year, but we're the same person. So, like this, we finished the first term and the second term started. We all started the second term having faced the grizzly bear eye to eye, and this is really a confidence boost because you learn a lot from facing such an intimidating creature. However, little did we know that the worst was yet to come. We had to face a different kind of bear, a teddy bear, Mr. Christian Brownlee's. Yeah, but this teddy bear, although a teddy, he would not hesitate to shame us week after week. I think he's not here. He once shamed me, so this was going to be my take back, but I'm sure you'll see this. Another rite of passage, for sure. Mr. Glitch, the volleyball legend, was also upon us, and many others, among them Mr. Brunner, the owl, simply because his 9 a.m. classes were sometimes made by him sleeping somehow, with his eyes closed. But the owl also because he is a genius. So we survived the second term, also adding a few more white hairs and a few more pounds to the first term, but we survived. A few survived. And finally, the last term started. So the third term gets underway. We do our master thesis. We fight in between each other. Yes, we literally fight. We go on, then we present our master thesis, and then we head to the library for our last battle, for our last exams. Eventually, they came by, and we did the exam, and then, as a friend says, we are left with nothing, apparently nothing. But, and this in a way is true. After a battle, a big 9-month battle, what are you left with? Nothing but scars. This is the state many of us are in right now. We're still processing what has been going on. What now? What's next? Of course, it's not true that we're left with nothing. The achievement of finishing the master's is remarkable on its own, and the knowledge gained here will obviously be very, very, very valuable in our future lives. But this feeling of not knowing where you're going is a central image, a metaphor for probably what a big part of life is for most of us. So, not knowing where you're going or what you're going to do. I'm sure many people up here have changed their mind thousands of times about decisions, about where you're going. So you may ask, how can you know what is the right path to take? Well, I'll tell you how. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know something. In the end, it doesn't matter that much as long as you have direction. There is no wrong path, but if you listen very closely to your inner being, if each of you can understand whatever that means for you, if you listen to your inner being, you might start to realize that what you want to do, where you want to be at, where you want to go. And once you know, this is my only advice. Do steel your hearts with bravery. Leave all comfort behind. Face uncertainty. Be brave. This life is yours. Command it. Now, as I'm winding down on my speech, I would like to take a moment to put a bit of perspective and a bit of context to these 9 months. You have been living these past 9 months on one of the greatest regions of the Mediterranean, Catalonia. And like the greatest knight to ever roam the earth, Don Quixote de la Mancha, many of you might know him, you too happened to come to Barcelona in search for adventure and advancement in life. And like him, maybe and hopefully, you gain clarity about yourself, your worth, and your place in the world. Friends, in a minute from now, we will wake up from this spell of 9 months. Just in a minute. Take a bit of conscience what you've been through all of these 9 months. Looking at so many of my friends from up here, I can see that the greatest task is now set upon us. The time to say goodbye. The moment to say goodbye and fare thee well. From intense experiences, of course, sometimes comes intense friendship. And for a few lucky ones, more than that. As Facundo and Gretchen know, love. And of course, as all of we know, so, dear friends, take a moment to look at your classmates for one last time, your friends, your professors, the chairmen. For now, they cease to be simply BGSE classmates or BGSE relationships of somehow. They are now ready to become your life companions. Give them your fairest goodbye, for in the end, this is what matters most, goodbyes. Because goodbyes are the measure in what you've lived is important. So class of 2015-2016, congratulations and goodbye.
Knowing that you don't know is the start of knowledge. So let's make it a short goodbye. We are inviting you to come to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Barcelona GSE next year, March 31st. So welcome back. So congratulations once more. And now to celebrate, we're just going to have cava, it's one of the traditions here, and a little cocktail downstairs. Okay? Thanks.